Carlos, we've just come back from an international break and we're exhausted already after game one. But tonight your team did it. How happy are you? How satisfied are you by the way that the game finished today?
I think we had to suffer a little bit more than always we want to suffer, because we like to get the result before in a more comfortable situation. But as soon as you play championship, you know that this doesn't happen in this very competitive competition. So it was clear that for me the team give one step in front to go to the game, to create chances, to be looking for the goal. Of course, after they lose one player, we insist even more on with the same idea that we had at the beginning, that was to put many balls in the box, to see more attacks and more chances. But we had to wait until late in the game to achieve the goal that allowed us to give us the 3 points.
You could sense the change of approach by your players when they came out for the second half. Was that an obvious method of exploiting the extra man that your team had, or did you decide to change the shape anyway?
No, the idea was to keep, what we tried to do is to put more balls in the spaces where they were suffering. For me, in the first half, when they were making a high press, we had opportunities to run in behind that we didn't use enough well. And we were playing the ball, we were putting the ball in the middle with some losing of the ball that allowed us to concede some counter-attacks. That one of these counter-attacks finished with a free kick where our keeper did a very good save. So the key for me of the game was looking for the sides and try to put more balls in the box, because I was thinking that we were winning and creating many danger in these type of situations, creating many problems to them every time we were playing or crossing balls to the box. And was the idea to insist in do this, maybe in the second half only create more stress before we put the ball in the cross, stop any type of foul that allow them to win minutes, try to clear the ball inside to the pitch, and stop any counter-attack that allowed them to go for the game. And I think we did perfectly, but only in the last 5 minutes after we have the result and they start to attack more, we put a little bit the result on risk.
Mm-hmm. So that's something that you can get the players to work on between now and the end of the season, Carlos. I ask that because you can perhaps anticipate these tense finishes to matches repeating themselves as we get closer to the end of the season, playoff semi-finals perhaps. Can you see that as a skill that needs correcting and improving?
No correcting for me. When you arrive to the last minutes of the game, you need to defend with your heart. And it's one question of mentality. Because in some moment the chaos of the shape made that the tactical start to be reduced. Instead that you cannot be looking for a clear relation, because maybe one central back go as a striker and happen things that you cannot control, or no, it's not easy to control from the tactical point of view, but have to be controlled by the emotion of the player, by the mentality of the players, trying to avoid the cross, trying to clear the ball, trying to fight for these type of actions, and trying to win the challenge that allow us to create counter-attacks and stop the game, and at the same time have the confidence to play a little bit, to reduce the tempo of the game and to dominate better the result. But in football, the emotional part of the game is too high, and sometimes it's not easy to manage this.
Very interesting. And it's a subject we talk a lot about. The emotion we'll all remember from tonight, once our throats have recovered, is the celebration and Harry Toffolo's moment and the wonderful celebrations. It felt as if it could be an important moment in your attempt to get promotion this season.
I think it was an important moment for us to win the 3 points. And of course, we know that our mentality is to add all the number of points that we can add, because the more number of points we add, in better position we are going to finish. That our target is try to finish in the highest position that we can finish.
Yeah. If you could have everything that you wanted, Carlos, would you have the game against Luton, for example, sooner now? Because having enjoyed the victory tonight, it would be nice to actually have Luton come to Huddersfield Town maybe sooner than 10 days. Could you see your team losing momentum after what they've achieved here tonight? Is that a fear?
No, I don't think it's going to be a problem to play with Luton in 10 days. I think it's going to be a challenge that we are going to play after Luton with QPR only with 3 days in between, when QPR have 5 days in between. So for me, there is one part of the competition that we are going to delay the next game, and we are going to play 4 games in a row after. So, but this is what the competition is. Things that I cannot control. So things that we need to be control is how we perform now, what we do in the next days, that we are going to use in the best way that we can use. And after, insist a lot in the recovery, because we know that when we are going to play 4 games in a row, the key is going to be the recovery.
We should also remind ourselves that you've achieved the 3 points tonight without Danny Ward, without Jonathan Hogg. Can you update us on their health as things stand?
I think both players, yesterday Danny Ward started to feel unwell and made him impossible to play tonight. And Hoggy started to feel unwell this morning and was impossible for him to play. Knowing both players, knowing the characters that both have, is clear that they didn't feel well, because are players that they never miss an opportunity to be in the pitch.
Which is a good situation for you, because you're going to have very hungry players coming back by the time we have Luton at Huddersfield in 10 days' time.
Yes, but not only them, everyone needs to be hungry, because we know that we are going to play one very competitive game, and it's impossible to be more motivated to play these type of games. So every player has to be hungry and have the desire to play the big games.
Congratulations on tonight, Carlos. Thank you.
You're welcome.